Welcome back to another edition of AI Rabbit Holes. This is a video series where we go down the rabbit hole of artificial intelligence, as there's really never ending rabbit holes in this world. And in this episode, I'm really excited to have on Gael Breton. Now, Gael is the co founder of Authority Hacker, host of the Authority Hacker podcast, also an expert in AI automations, marketing, and honestly, one of my favorite content creators in this space. So, Gael, it's an honor to have you on. Appreciate your time.
Well, it's a very I need to live up to that intro right now. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not going to get too far into your background. I highly encourage people to look you up and look up Authority Hacker and all that you've accomplished there. But I'm going to dive right in. Right, you've sold multiple businesses. You built and sold multiple businesses. What was the inspiration behind Authority Hacker? I guess how has your mission changed now with kind of an AI first search world versus what you guys were doing before?
Well, I mean, first of all, we are a company without a product right now, I guess. So it's like we're literally just producing content. But like the point is like it's always been the thing where I just figure stuff out and people keep asking me about it. And then it's like eventually Authority Hacker on the affiliate and SEO side became like a big thing, like more than 15,000 paying members and so on. And so like, yeah, I scaled up basically helping people doing shit on the internet. And the focus was affiliate and SEO. Affiliate and SEO now is not as hot as it used to be, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's no trick that will fix that. So instead of trying to sell snake oil, I decided to just literally shut down all our courses and training with my co-founder. And now we're really focused on AI and automation. We think it's the next big thing. The thing as well is because we've built like a pretty well scaled up business, like we have used a lot of these things internally. We just didn't really talk about this. So we have experience for a while with automation, at least. AI, obviously, I can't tell you I have 10 years of experience in AI,
Right.
but in automation we do. And so like that was kind of the next logical step to go after that. And we're kind of like, we're working with a little bit more established people. So Authority Hacker had a lot of beginners as well. Now the new positioning is a little bit more towards people who are more established. We work with businesses that at least make 7 figures per year. And we're actually consulting right now. We're doing like,
Is that where your
I
system
hate,
stack?
yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And the point is like, it's like eventually we'll go back to like courses and info products, but like I'm not the guy who teaches stuff before I've actually done it. And so like this year is me just literally going in the trenches, building stuff that's in production for real companies, like companies that make multiple 7 figures per year, 8 figures per year, even 9 figure for like one of them. So like doing that thing so that then I can go back to actually talking about this with authority, because I've been working in the real production stuff, not just making funny N8Ns on YouTube, basically. And so like that's the thing. I will go back to education eventually, but I think being legitimate in this is very important to me, at least.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you about your decision to shut down that traditional course business. I remember listening to that podcast actually in the gym several months ago where you're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. It feels like snake oil. But
Yep.
on that topic, right, you've been in the SEO world for over 15 years now. What was that defining moment where you knew, hey, this old playbook is over and we have to start shifting gears?
I mean, it had been like a year since the helpful content update, which is really the update that kind of like, it's like the core updates from Google before were already kind of like slowly eroding the playing field and traffic was going down, but not like, it was still manageable. It was still a profitable business model. It was fine. But then that was that big update. Can't remember now. It's like, it was it
Yeah, there were so many of them.
2020?
There's like HCU,
Yeah.
there's September
Yeah.
HCU. Yeah, there's a
There
ton
was
of
a
them.
lot. And the point is like that big one really kind of knocked off a lot of the people that we helped and so on. And so like we had that community, we could clearly see the effects. And like not everyone was affected, but I would say like half of the people were affected maybe. And then plus all these updates that came in, and then it started hitting some more people, etc. And it's like, yeah, it's like you're promising people that this is gonna work, and then you just see that most people are not able to make it work. And the truth is nobody was making it work, right? Even big publishers right now, like you see Node wallets, like shareholder meetings, they tell you like, hey, traffic's down 25% and we need to get traffic from somewhere else than Google. So you can't really imagine that if these guys are struggling, you can't imagine small publishers being able to fight against this. It's kind of like a tide they can fight, and something that we had to accept. But it was kind of challenging to like not call it too early as well, because the industry has known crisis as well and then came back. And so the real challenge as the course seller was to like be realistic about the situation, but also not call it too early if things were recovering, because I've seen that happen many
Right.
times in the past as well. And so like that's why like 1 year in we're like, you know what, our heart is not into this. We don't really believe in this. We also kind of evolved as people, and we enjoy working on like bigger projects and bigger things as we've grown our own company. And so like we felt like we were not in sync with the audience as well. And so like
Yeah.
these two things together, plus the AI opportunity, like I really enjoyed the AI already for like since it came out. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? It's time to do it. We had a good run. 10 years on affiliate and SEO, not too bad, you know?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there still selling that snake oil of SEO, but it's
Yeah,
kind of
but there's
evolved now. And I want to hear your take on this, Gail, because you've talked about
Okay.
it a lot on your podcast, your Twitter, everywhere. You've been very vocal about GEO, AEO, LLMO, the new word of the week, whatever it tends to be. But in my opinion, right, and I think we're aligned on this, how fundamentally the ranking factors are really no different than traditional SEO in order to appear for LLM, GEO, whatever it's called. So what is your response, Gail, to someone telling you GEO, AEO, it's different than SEO this time?
I mean, most people probably use ChatGPT. Some people probably use Gemini. Some people use Claude. But when you ask like a news query or product query, etc., every single time now the LLM is just doing a search query, essentially getting top search results, putting that in its context, and that's influencing its response, right? So essentially, what's happening is the LLM goes on the search engine, gets the top ranking results,
Especially
and then reads the
ChatGPT, I'm
page
pretty sure
and
it's still
just
pulling
rewards
Bing in
it,
the back
right?
end.
Yeah, that's all that's happening. So essentially, if you rank on Google or like whatever search engine the LLM is using, like ChatGPT, there's kind of a debate of whether it's using Bing or Google right now. But the point is like whatever search engine it's using, it's like it's heavily influenced by the results it's reading from there in terms of the results. So you kind of need to rank for these things. The thing that probably changes is the keywords. Like the LLM's probably more likely to type like longer tail keywords or weird keywords
Yeah.
that like it syncs differently. And so, but it's kind of the same thing. And then Google does like, I run the API a lot with search grounding on Gemini for a lot of clients. I managed to get the API do up to 35 queries in one shot with the query fan out. Like they do many queries at once and then they read everything. It's like sometimes it does one or two, but then it does up to 35. So it's like it's still SEO, but it's a little bit different as well, basically. But yeah, it's like selling it as a brand new thing. It's a bit of a snake.
Yeah, like a GEO expert or new departments or whatever. And there's a ton of propaganda now from Google coming out with AIO data and all this other crap where they're saying AIO clicks are actually higher quality. But what proof do they have, right? They always don't talk about the click volume going down. They just talk about how these
Yeah,
are higher
because
quality. What do you think about all this propaganda that Google keeps putting out about this?
I mean, they're just well media trained, It's like they know what to say, so they just shift the debate. It's like in politics, right? It's like you ask a politician about what something bad they did, and they tell you something else another politician did that was bad, and they just kind of never answer the question. Google's doing the same thing here.
Well, from your experience, Gail, are you seeing like a higher lift in GEO LLM traffic? Talk about that.
I mean, like to be frank, like a lot of the queries that we've been ranking for with Google, with on the hacker, sorry, they have been heavily replaced by AI, to be honest. So it's like the traffic has gone down significantly on the website. And it's like, yeah, the opportunity is much lower than SEO was. Like basically SEO was like 100 opportunity, and then the ranking on AI is probably like a 15 or something, something like that. I'm not saying it's zero. There's still something to be done here. And probably the clicks are higher value because people are more qualified by the time they land on your website. I believe in that. But it's not a one-to-one replacement, right?
No. When you're
like
talking, 60, 70% in volume, but yet that 15% is higher quality, the numbers don't really add out there, in my opinion.
But it's kind of like the way people look at things, right? For example, they'll tell you exercising is good for your health and taking omega-3 is good for your health. The problem is like omega-3 is like 1% good for your health and exercising is 30% good for your health. And then both statements are true, right? It's kind of the same thing that's happening here. People are playing on the ambiguity of the fact that essentially one is replacing the other. And in people's mind, that means the opportunity is equal when it's actually not,
And one thing too that I've realized about this is people are always like, oh, AI mode and AIO, like zero click. It's like, guys, zero click's been around since what, 2016, 2017 with
feature snippets,
snippets, and people also ask in the busier SERPs every single year. So zero click is nothing new. That's always been the objective of Google.
But it's going to go up still. Like it's definitely like not only is it going to go up, but search volume is going to go down as people replace search queries with LLM queries altogether,
Yeah. And last question I want to ask you on SEO, Gail, before we get into the AI automations part of this. I loved your post about the Semrush stock price decline, that 60% stock price decline. You got a lot of heat on LinkedIn. I was looking through some of the comments there.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a big impact on the industry. There's no doubt about that. Should people stop paying for these premium SEO tools like Semrush and Ahrefs? And I guess where should people go for SEO tools right now?
I think it really depends on the side of the company, right? It's like some companies we work with, like SEO is still very important to them, even if SEO is 70% less good, it's still something they should invest in. But like I feel like SEO is like used to be kind of like a bootstrapper thing, and then you would do that early on. Now SEO is the thing you do when you're kind of established as a brand and you've done all the other things, and then now, okay, I can get some free traffic from organic, and I can piggyback all the effort I've done on social, that I've done on YouTube, on getting an email list, all that stuff, on ads as well.
Yeah.
And so like it's just like it's moved, and that target's moved, and it's like the time at which you should start investing in SEO is completely different now from where it was 5 years ago. So SEO is still gonna be a channel for a very long time. Like I kind of explain to people, like every generation has a medium they're attached to. So your grandparents, they probably listen to the radio a lot and they still listen to it. Your parents, they grew up with TV and they still probably watch way more TV than you do. You grew up with the internet, YouTube, and Google, and probably your habits are still going to stick around that, like the millennial type generation, late Gen Z. And then the new generation is going to grow fully on chatbot and never use Google, basically. And so like that generation is still going to exist, and there will still be traffic on these mediums. But like look at where radio used to be and where it is right now. That's what's going to happen to SEO, basically.
I
So,
agree.
yeah.
And the concluding thought here, I can't stand when people say SEO is dead. Well, the problem with that statement, Gail, is they're blanketing SEO as like an overarching thing. Informational top of funnel SEO, sure, that's dead. What about local? What about YouTube? What about TikTok SEO, right? There's so many different elements of SEO that people just conveniently don't talk about.
Yeah, that's why it's the classic. It depends, right? It depends on what you're doing. Even ecom is still working pretty well right now.
Ecom too.
And so like that's why it's like it's not. I can't tell. Like, on one side, the people who say AI is replacing all of SEO, they're bullshitting. But the people who say SEO is dead, they're also bullshitting, because the answer is nuanced. Like, people like to pick a side. It's not. It's just like it's evolving a lot. And the truth is, the tech giants haven't even settled that battle yet. Like this is still happening, and I feel like the small businesses are going to be in flux until the tech giants battle is over.
Yeah.
And after that, we're going to be able to kind of like understand the playing field and generate like more established tactics and start quote unquote gaming the system a little bit more. But right now it's quite difficult when things change every week.
It's for sure nuance. It's all clickbait and headlines and whatnot. Let's shift over to AI and automations now. This will be the good part here. So you do a lot of content now around AI and automations. I just have to ask you this, Gail. Let me help you sell yourself on this podcast episode.
Okay.
Why should someone consume your content versus all the N8N 100 node automations gurus that we see everywhere on the internet?
Because I actually do that. Like, I'm actually doing it. Like, a lot of my time is spent actually working inside real companies and helping them. It's like, the funny thing is, like, let's be honest, financially, this is a lot less money than I used to make when I was like top seller affiliate course. But the point is, like, I think it's a necessary step to gain any kind of legitimacy. And it's like the same we did in the SEO space. Like, we kind of like actually ran our sites for a while before we even started talking about it. And it's like, we're kind of going through the same path. And so, yeah, as I said earlier, we're working for like companies that make up to like 9 figures, and it's like and we help them bring these things. And quite often, the automations that you build inside these companies, they're much simpler and less complicated than what you're going to actually be shown on a YouTube channel with 16 sub agents and all of them connected to a million tools and trying to do all that stuff. Like, the biggest leverage is often simplicity, and the challenge is adoption, actually, and getting people to actually use it properly, getting teams to use it properly and do it properly. And so the more complex you make it, the more difficult adoption is, the less of an impact it has on the company. So maybe it works for you as a tiny solopreneur, but actually the real challenge when you're actually making big bucks is to balance that complexity with the adoption. And so like that's something that you can only experience when you do that in the field the way we're doing it now. And that's why it's like, while I sometimes share simpler things, there are often things that will probably have a more profound impact than a lot of like flashy things that you see online, basically.
And what I've realized from experience, Gail, the bigger the enterprise or the bigger the business, the more resistance there is to change and get stakeholders to buy in, right? There's all these people that have done it their way for 30 years and they don't want to change at all. And they're just going to keep doing it their way.
Yeah, and it's like, and so like, and as a thing, it's like the more change you introduce, the more resistance you will face, and so you have to you have to balance that. And it's like it's a lot of like talking to people, understanding them, also not scaring them that they're going to be fully replaced by AI. We don't really buy into that thing where like AI does all the work and you do nothing. It's like everything has a human in the loop that we build. It just kind of like removes the tedious work. Like it removes opening a bunch of tabs, collecting data, putting it there, etc. We use all these MCPs and so on to pre-build that.
Right.
Then a human reviews that, approves or not on Slack, for example, or on Google Docs or whatever, and then it just goes back into the system, does some more work until there's a final review. And so yeah, like we're kind of more qualitative than most people, I would say. Like, I mean, there's a lot of like very good creators. Like, I mean, Nate Heck, I think.
Oh, Nate Hurt.
Nathan
Yeah,
guy.
he actually went to Iowa. Funny enough.
He's good, but he's also been promoting a bunch of like slop automations on his channel, for example. That
Yeah, he is very
no
technical
way
and complex. Yeah.
there's no way any company would ever use or something. So I understand the proof of concept and it's interesting, etc. But like there's a difference, and I think some people again lack the nuance of understanding the difference between what works in the real world and what you see on YouTube, basically.
So you're not sitting on the beach, Gael, running your new system stack AI automations agency with your 100
No,
agents managing
I've
clients.
never worked so hard.
Oh,
Like literally the opposite. It's like, I mean, I enjoy it because like there's a lot of leverage on your time if you use AI systems, so you get more done. But input is still very much a variable, and there's a lot of overseeing, and building takes time. Like for example, like prompting GPT-5 is very challenging right now. It's very different to prompt it compared to O3 or Gemini 2.5 Pro, etc.
yeah.
And actually, I've had to spend a
With
few
the
days
auto mode,
already.
you talking about the auto mode?
No, I'm not talking about ChatGPT. I'm talking about API, like
Mm.
inside automations, etc., making it work in agents and so on. Like that's why, for example, people complain about it on Cursor, because like I can understand their pain. It's like it's a very different beast to tame, and so it takes a lot of input time. Like I'm running like 5 tabs with like different APIs running and different outputs, and then evaluating them, etc. So it's actually time intensive to work in AI, and it
For
takes a
sure.
lot.
For sure. Let's talk about GPT-5 quick. I had that on my list here. There's a lot of hype
Okay.
right now. In general, are you a fan of it? You know, I listened to your take on GPT-5 Mini, which I completely agree with in the automations
Good
front. But
value.
GPT-5, the flagship with the thinking, like, give me your synopsis of it. What do you think of it?
It's again, as I said, it's a hard beast to tame. Like when it works well, it's very good. But I find that my results are more consistent on Gemini 2.5 Pro still, for example. Like if it's like the same prompt might go one way or another, especially if you like, for example, I do something that plans content for like a content agency, and it uses recursive web search to like run multiple rounds of search to identify trends and then make decisions and so on. And sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's absolutely terrible. Whereas with Google, I get I feel it's more stable. And again, like in production, it's quite valued by the client. Like if I run a sample and it's terrible when I show them, then it's not going to be approved. It's not going to go through.
Well, it's not as cost effective as the GPT-5 Mini side, which I'm actually very impressed with how inexpensive it is.
Yeah, it's good. And it beats Flash, actually. Like it's smarter than Flash. 2.5 Flash was kind of like my default like agent. Like in n8n, like if you're an agent, I would probably put 2.5 Flash. The problem with the Gemini models is they're not amazing at tool calling. It's kind of the worst model at this point. Whereas GPT-5 is actually very good, and the price is lower, and it's also more token efficient. So it actually uses less tokens to do the same task. So the price to value is actually very good.
Yeah, you had a really good post recently too on your Twitter account. You had a lot of gold on there. I'll get people to follow you and stuff like that. But you talked about the walled garden. I completely resonated with what you were talking about with people being copy and paste machines with AI and Chat GPT and whatnot. So what is your best recommendation, Gael, for marketers and business owners or anyone watching right now to escape that walled garden or AI copy and paste mentality?
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with AI right now, right? It's like you have these amazing chatbots, your ChatGPT app or whatever, but they're not connected to anything. So you have to go grab the data that you're going to give them for context for the task you want to do. They process it, they give you talk a bit, you get what you want, then you need to go and put it back,
right,
like in your task system or in your social media if you want or whatever. Well, the solution exists. It's MCP, right? MCP allows you to essentially connect APIs to a chatbot, and so it exists, but it's not compatible with ChatGPT. It's not compatible with Gemini. It's only compatible with Claude and like some fringe tools like TypingMind that I quite like.
And even Claude Desktop MCP is a lot different than the Claude web browser MCP.
You cannot use it in the web browser. You have to use the desktop app, and it's kind of like primitive the way you have to set up most MCPs, right? You quite often have to like install, download it and install from GitHub on your computer, and then you need to update a text file with like your
Right.
API key in like plain text that like if your computer gets hacked, basically people have access to it, and then Cloud Desktop can call it basically. So it's very primitive. Every MCP sets up a little bit differently as well. So it's like, it's not easy. I've actually made a chatbot to like that reads the documentation and walks like beginner step by step on how to install MCPs, because I cannot make a tutorial on how to do all of them.
Right.
So it's like, it's possible. The best place to use it now is Claude Code, actually. So
I was just going to talk to you about Claude Code next. You're a big fan of Claude Code. I see you post about it everywhere. I guess explain how you're using it for business and marketing related tasks.
So the way I set it up right now is I actually use a tool called Obsidian, which is a note-taking tool. But it takes notes in Markdown format, which is essentially the format most AI tools also use to output their content, right? So AI, it means AI, like Claude Code can access every single file in there. So I can have a folder on like my social media, for example, where I have like a bunch of rules and writing guidelines, etc. And Claude Code can go and read all this stuff before it writes something, for example. But also Claude can write into it, so it can actually create new notes, new drafts, etc. for me. And also Claude Code is connected to a bunch of MCPs. So for example, one of those that I have for social media management is Apify. So you can go and like scrape competitors, for example. So I'd be like, hey, like I like the style of this guy. Go and scrape their best 50 tweets in the last 3 months and prepare a writing guide to write tweets in their style, for example. I will do that, and it will create a note inside Obsidian. So I didn't have to copy paste anything. It just went, did it. It stored the data, and I can mention it anytime in any chat in the future, basically. And so like that's kind of like a cool workflow. It's a little bit, again, for most people, it's going to be a lot to set up, because like I'm literally running a terminal and a note-taking app, and it's like I'm just chatting on one side.
You lost
and the
most
note-taking
people
app,
with terminal.
yeah. So that's the problem. It's like the best stuff is not accessible to beginners at this point. And even Claude Desktop is kind of shit for MCP. And the reason why is because once you run out of context, which happens very quick with MCPs, they basically shut down the chat. They're just like, you can't talk anymore. It's like, so like you were in the middle of drafting your post. It's like, sorry, I ran out of tokens. Start a new chat.
I definitely think that's where it's going, though, with the Claude Code and the MCP. That's definitely where the tides are shifting.
Yeah, so it's like if you want to be on the edge, you kind of have to pick that up. And it's like, it is a competitive advantage. Like, for example, there are MCPs that connect to your ad platform. So when I start selling courses again, I'm definitely connecting my ad platforms to Claude Code, and it's going to like, it can retrieve data live, it can analyze it, see which copies work better, update the ad copies for me directly into the ad platform, tell me which creatives work better, prepare maybe prompts for creating new images with probably Imagen at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like, it really makes it quite fast and seamless, but it's quite a setup.
Yeah, we got to get people out of this walled garden copy paste machine mentality. That's just unfortunately where most people are right now. But Gael, I want to move on here to rapid fire AI questions as we kind of conclude this edition. Let me hear you say this first. What is your biggest AI prediction in the next 6 to 12 months? This can be anything related to content, marketing, or just AI in general.
I didn't really think about it, but I mean, first of all, I don't think the world's gonna change as fast as people think. Mostly because, again, working with like inside companies, etc., like adoption is slow, so it doesn't matter how fast the tech goes. It's like people take a long time. There's a few edge companies that are figuring it out, etc., but that's really like on the edge. I do think this MCP stuff is going, like, someone's going to figure out how to make it more accessible. There will be like MCP 2.0 coming out, and it's going to be much easier. You'll just log in like with your Google account and it will work. You won't have to make a Google Cloud console thing to connect your Google Docs and so on. And that's going to start really opening up the idea. I think one app that I'm really watching in the next 6 months is actually Notion. The reason why is because they actually just revamped their Notion AI, and it works a little bit like Cursor, but inside Notion. So for business people, it's going to be very interesting to like import your data, etc. And then the founder, I tweeted at him and I was like, it would be amazing if you made Notion an MCP client so you can connect all your external data sources. And he said that's the goal. So if they actually do that, and then it's like it can build your databases, it can do all of that, get your data from Slack, get from Google Drive, use MCPs to get your ad data, etc. Notion might become the cursor of everyone who doesn't code, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited for this one. I think that might remove a lot of complexity, and they're the company I'm keeping an eye on, actually.
That's a good call out there. I'll have to keep an eye on Notion. So, looking ahead, Gail, what's the number one skill you could recommend for small business owners, marketers, or really anyone listening here to be focusing on to stay ahead? If you have to just say one skill with everything changing every day, what should people focus on?
I think the biggest skill is actually not a technical skill, it's clarity, actually. I'm sure if you open your N8N account right now, you probably have a bunch of half-finished automations that are not running.
I use Make mostly, but yeah, I got like
Okay.
50 automations that I don't use anymore just for demo purposes.
Yeah, or even sometimes like I get an idea, I start something, and then I come back the next day and like that was a bad idea. You know, it doesn't work very well or whatever. And it's like we spend a lot of time trying to automate things that don't deserve to be automated, and so like that's why I kind of like mentioned as well on social, like workflows is the most important. So my number one step for most things I'm looking at right now is literally like, can I make a list of steps that's less than 10 steps to achieve the goal I want, like creating a social post or, getting leads or whatever. And then I kind of do all of them manually, and I take note of the things that can be automated. Then eventually I can automate just one step here and there. And then I just make it more and more complicated. That's what I did with my inbox, for example. So like I get a lot of emails and a lot of cold outreach now that AI makes it pretty easy as well. And so like same, like I kind of like did a simple thing that was literally just identifying bad emails and removing them from my inbox with an A10. And I made it more and more and more advanced. And now it's at the point where my inbox is pretty much always empty. Every actual useful to-do is in my to-dos in Notion. Like people are like, there's a draft for every important email that is replied to. There is like a knowledge base it taps into, etc. And it's like when I open my inbox, it's usually like 0 or 1 email actually. Like you actually check now. Yeah, it's empty actually right now.
That's impressive. I completely agree with clarity. That's a huge thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's like it's not technical, right? It's like you can pick up the technical skills once you actually understand what you want. Obviously, it's kind of like you kind of need both sides because you need to understand what's possible with automation as well. So you need to do that. But like most people who automate, they automate shit. And also like raise your standards a bit. Like most people's stuff is AI slop, honestly.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
So
We
it's
don't
like,
even got to get into that, but actually, that's my next rapid fire question for you: is what's your favorite AI hot take? You have a lot of hot takes on Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever I see all the time, but just give me one of your favorites right now.
Yeah, most people's standards are too low, and it's like most AI bros are spammers basically. It's
AI
like,
bros, that's right.
That's how we call them internally. Like if you're a 20-something selling N8N automations, we call them AI bros internally.
I call them N8N bros, but that's not fair to N8N because it is a good platform.
And it is a good tool. That's the thing. It's like, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you kind of like get the mix of like the AI hype with the hormozy marketing tactics, with the potential of the platform of N8N. Like potential is a very good platform, kind of mixed together, giving a bad rep to the industry. But I was kind of used to that in the affiliate marketing world as well. So
yeah, I don't know if you've heard of Poppy AI, but those guys are like the masters of clickbait affiliate marketing. And like they reached out to me about a review. I don't know if you probably didn't see my video, but like I completely wrecked them. Like they were expecting like this cool review and for me to sell out to my audience for all the affiliate commissions, like all the other creators, 30 minutes of just railing them. And like I didn't send it to them. I don't care. My audience resonated with it. You just have to call out all the BS because there's so much of it in this space.
People are tired as well, right? People don't care for like, look, the backslash on GPT-5, like it's like people are like they're not really buying into like AI is just gonna save our life and make everything better. Like they're tired, they don't care for new models. They just want use cases. They feel like there's a lot of hype, and it's like their life hasn't changed that much.
Well, I don't care about the other side with the GPT-4o and those people crying that they lost. I'm like, that model sucked to even start with. Like, what are we even talking about here?
I think some people just like need the kind of like emotional validation from the answer, and they got used to it. And then the thing is always like it's not even a model problem, right? It's literally a system.
It's a use case problem.
It's a system prompt. Like it's just the system prompt changed a bit, and it's like I can make any model behave whichever way with the system prompt. It's the thing that's going to change is the ceiling of the quality of the answers. But the way they behave, the way they answer, they can all be prompted to answer however they want. I just think OpenAI is like a bunch of nerds who like just value like, you know, academic integrity and truthfulness and everything. And they were like, oh, that's an opportunity to make GPT like this. and it's like, but on the other side, GPT-4 had been optimized for engagement. It was basically the TikTok of AI, right?
Yeah,
It
I
was like,
agree
oh,
with
you're
you.
so amazing, like your ideas are incredible, you're changing the world right now, etc.
I
It's
agree
like,
with
yeah,
you.
people got used to that. It's like a drug, you know. It's like the same way social media gets people addicted. This is what this side on AI.
And I will say the last thing we need too is more AI SaaS wrappers. I hope that trend starts to go away here pretty soon, but who knows? People are
I
always
think
out
there
to make
can be
money with
some good
SaaS.
ones. I
Yeah.
think there can be some good ones. It's like the problem is like if you have success, you'll be challenged by bigger companies.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're a really small builder, like that's why I didn't go the SaaS route. Like I'm vibe coding quite a bit, but I have no interest in going the SaaS route because I know like more experienced people with deeper pockets will pick up on any success and just essentially take everything home. Like it's even happening to Cursor right now. Like Cloud Code is eating into Cursor like really
Yeah.
heavily. And Cursor is even going into the CLI, which is an admission that the IDE might not survive. So it's like, yeah, it's very difficult. The idea that you can vibe code your way to becoming super rich, I think, is a bit of the similar to the gold rush in the US, and most people are going to end up the same way as people who went to California back then.
I completely agree with you. Okay, I'd love to sit here all day and get all your AI hot takes here, but let me ask you this. What is the next big focus for Gael in your content, whether on YouTube or other platforms? What are kind of some things you're going to focus on for your content going forward?
So we're kind of running at capacity on like on helping people right now. Like we can't take people. So we're actually making some kind of like, we're making a membership, but a premium one.
Okay.
Again, for like established businesses, etc. So right now we're kind of building that. And that's kind of like our way to just be able to help more people that actually want our help right now. So I'll still make free content. Like I'll still give a lot of free stuff, but there will also be a premium membership. But when I'm talking premium, it's like, yeah, people will be vetted before they can join,
For
etc.
sure.
Like it's not gonna be it's not an NA10 bros cool community. It's gonna be something that's a little bit closer to production stuff,
For
basically. So
sure.
that's kind of my focus. Not very excited for many people who are just starting up, but the free content will still be here.
Absolutely. You have a lot of good free stuff out there too. So, Gael, appreciate your time. With that being said, where can people find you online to learn more about what you're doing?
So I mean, I'm mostly post on like Twitter and LinkedIn. I do a little bit of YouTube, but to be honest, it needs to be. This is one thing I need to optimize the workflow of, and I'm kind of like
It's a lot of
struggling on
work.
that. It's a lot of work. So like I have a YouTube channel, and then the Authority Hacker podcast.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I'll leave links to all that stuff in the description below. Gael, thank you again so much for your time. Thanks again to everyone for listening to this edition of AI Rabbit Holes. Be sure to tune in again next time.